Sandhan. All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Very good afternoon to dear students. Myself Dr. Viral Shukla, Assistant Professor and Head, coming from Shri P.M. Patel Institute of PG Studies and Research in Science, Anand. Today with me my colleague is there, Ms. Ashma Sheikh, Assistant Professor, Department of Integrated Biotechnology. She is coming from Shri P.M. Patel Institute of Integrated Studies, Anand. Today we are going to discuss about a very interesting and vast topic, that is bacterial cell membrane structure and function. As we can see from the slide that this is a bacterial cell membrane structure. It is having a cytoplasmic membrane which is actually producing a boundary, and it is separating the living cell from the non-living surrounding environments. So it is producing a closed boundary which is not allowing any extra substances from the outside to inside. As we can see from the slide, what are the biological membranes? Now the barriers that define the inside and outside of a cell. The plasma membrane is an outer boundary, and functionally it works as a traffic cop of every biological cell. Now traffic cop means they are not going to permit any extra material from outside to inside and any material from inside to outside. Membranes are very flexible, they are self-sealing and selectively permeable for the materials. Now how they are selectively permeable? They are having a transporters on the surface of cell. That transporter allow inorganic ions and organic solutes from the outside to inside and inside to outside. Now how the transporter will become activated? They are having a receptors which are taking the signals from the outside or extracellular materials, and that signal activate the receptor. That receptor make a molecular changes within the cell, and they will activate the transporters, and that transporters activated and making the cell membrane permeable for the selective material. So that whole system is known as a transport system. These transport systems confirm on membrane the important property of selective permeability. Now, why they need to go for this kind of transport? Because the cell needs material in and products or waste out, which is produced during the metabolism. Now, which kind of materials they need in? And that is food. And which kind of material they are going to out? That is waste. Now, so for to check the cell permeability, first we have to check the cell membrane structure. Which type of structure is there which is going to transport the material? So first we have to see the detailed structure of a cell membrane. So in the early 1930s and 40s, Daniel and Davison studies a triglyceride lipid bilayer over a water surface. They found that they arrange themselves with the polar heads facing outward. As we can see from the slide, that the polar lipid is attached with the protein coat, and they attach with the protein coat. So a major component of a cell membrane structure is polar lipids and protein, but only these components are not present, but some amount of carbohydrate is also present in a cell membrane as a glycoprotein and glycolipid. Now the proportion of lipid and protein will vary with the cell membrane or the type of cell membrane and structure. But after Daniel and Davison model in 1972, Singer and Nicholson proposed a second model, and they told that proteins are actually integrated within the phospholipid bilayer. So, as we can see from the slide, that proteins are integrated in the phospholipid bilayer, and that this proposed model is known as a fluid mosaic model. It's like a fluid, it's like a mosaic, so it's the fluid mosaic model. Now, this model is actual working model of cell membrane. Or now the mass ratio of protein and lipid ranges from 1:4 to 4:1 within the membrane. Now, how the phospholipid bilayer is arranged. The polar layers of lipids are outside and inside present, and non-polar tails are arranged in the interior cell membranes. Now, this is, as we can see from the slide, this one is our fluid mosaic model. The cell membrane is mosaic in fluid because it is having most of the interaction between the component which are present in the cell membrane are having non-covalent interaction. So, they are, for example, protein and lipid are floating in the plane of a membrane. So, that we can say that protein is floating or bobbing in the phospholipid sea. So, it's known as a fluid mosaic model. Now, let's see the detailed structure of phospholipid. Phospholipid is abundant lipid which is present in the cell membrane. Now, abundantly they are having two types of end. One is polar and second one is non-polar. Now, this polar end is hydrophilic. Hydrophilic means they are attracted to water, and the second end is known as a tail, and that is a non-polar end which is known as hydrophobic. Hydrophobic means they are having a phobia for water, means they repelled the water. So, they generally arrange interior side in a cell, and the hydrophobic side is always outside. Now, let's see the types of lipid layers. Generally, when we are adding three types of lipid layers, we found when we are going to mix water with lipid. The first one is known as a micelle. Micelle means what? When you are adding an amphitrophic lipid into the water, then the hydrophobic chain of fatty acid are sequestered in a core of a sphere, and that is known as micelle. Second type is bilayer. The monolayer of lipid monolayers form a dimensional sheet, and that is known as a bilayer. And third one is known as a liposome. Liposome means when two-dimensional structure fold by itself closely bound, they will form a liposome or a vesicle. Now, as we already discussed that cell need some material in, cell have to pass some waste material inside to outside. So, we have to check how the structure will support this transport. Now, so it means that membrane, we already discussed that membrane is selectively permeable for such material, for example food and for example waste. So, this kind of food material and waste material have to cross the cell membrane. Now, what molecules can get through the cell membranes directly? And they are the fats and oils which are able to pass directly through. Why fats and oil? Because they are hydrophobic in nature. So, this hydrophobic material are able to directly pass through the cell membrane, right? Now, so as we can see from the slide that inside the cell, it is the waste is there, lipid is there, salt material is there, and outside the cell we are having sugar and H2O. sugar is required for the cell as a substrate for growth, right? But sugar is non-permeable. Why? Because the molecular size of sugar is large and pore size of a cell membrane is very less as compared to the molecular size of sugar. So this kind of material will not able to pass. So what about the other stuff? For example, sugar and H2O, how they will pass? So they need to make a doors through membrane. For example, protein channels allow the substances in and out. For example, specific channels allow a specific material in and out, that is H2O channel, salt channel and sugar channel, etc. Now, see, 4 factors generally affect a membrane permeability. First one is polarity of the material, molecular size of a material, lipid solubility of the material and charge of the material. Now, let's see the second important part or second important component of cell membrane, and they are membrane protein. As we discussed that for membrane permeability you require protein channels for the transport. So we have to see the role and function of membrane proteins which are present in a cell membrane. Now proteins serve as a pumps, transducers, receptors and enzymes in a membrane. They work as pumps, as transducers, as a receptors and as an enzyme. Now they mediate distinctive function of a cell membrane. Now membrane proteins are attached with the bilayer which create a suitable environment to go for functioning of a cell membrane. So as we can see from the slide said that the transporter protein work for transport. They are work as an enzyme and they do enzyme activity to convert the substrate to product. They work as a receptors. They work as a surface identifying marker. They work for cell adhesion. They also attach to the cytoskeleton. Now 6 ways are there in which membrane proteins are associated with the lipid bilayer. As we can see from the slide that total 6 types are there in the way that proteins are attached with the lipid bilayer. The first one, cross the membrane as a single helix. Second type, cross the membrane as a multiple helix. Third type, proteins with a covalently attached with the fatty acid chains or prenyl group inserted in the bilayer. Fourth one, this fourth type is less often, but they are attached via an oligosaccharide to a minor phospholipid phosphatidylinositol in the non-cytoplasmic monolayer. And fifth and sixth attached to the membrane only by non-covalent interactions with other membrane proteins. Now the important part or important proteins are interior protein, peripheral protein and or integral protein, peripheral protein and amphitropic protein. Now this integral protein are attached with very firmly and associated with very firmly with the lipid bilayer, and the peripheral proteins are associated or attached with the cell surface or cell membrane surface with electrostatic interaction as well as hydrogen bonding. And the third, amphitropic proteins are found both cytosol as well as in association with the membrane. Now let's see about the summary of membrane proteins. Now 2 types of membrane proteins are there. First one is integral and second one is peripheral. Integral protein have another 2 subtypes. This is transmembrane and anchor protein. The transmembranes have another 2 types. One is multipass and second one is single pass. And this multipass having 2 types of subunits, and that is beta barrels and alpha helical. So as we already discussed that you need protein channels for transport, as well as you require these proteins for function of a membrane. So let's see about the plasma membrane function. As we already discussed, that this plasma membrane is selectively permeable, which allows certain substances to pass through. So by two ways they are going to transport this substance. First one is active or passive. So passive transport means downhill and active transport means uphill. Uphill means they require energy. Downhill means they don't require any kind of energy. For example, as we already discussed that CO2, oxygen, they are hydrophobic material which are able to passively diffuse. So they don't require any kind of energy for the transport. So the 5 important function of cell membrane is there, and they are: first one, cell membrane is required for the transportation of substances. Second, they require for removal of waste. Third one, they site for various cycles like respiration and photosynthesis. Fourth one, they provide a mechanical barrier. Fifth one, they will act as a semi-permeable membrane, so it allows selected material into the cell. So just like a traffic cop. Now the another part of function will discuss by Asma ma'am.
Now we concentrate on a membrane transport, why they need the membrane transport. As the madam discussed the structure, now we concentrate on a function part. So why the need for transport, that necessary for acquiring the raw materials for biosynthesis and also release it to environment and the byproduct of the metabolism. So transport, particularly as shown in the slide, that many non-polar compounds like H2, the gases and the hydrophobic compound, they are directly dissolved out in a lipid bilayer and transported out from outside or to the inside of the membrane. But many unpolar compounds and many large polar compounds and charged ion, they needed particularly the presence of a membrane protein. Without the presence of the membrane protein, such compounds are not